So it appears that despite increasing restrictions, increased fines, and the never-ending government impositions, we have seen nothing more than an increase in COVID cases. That narrative is still alive and well. However, here at Rebel News, we have been inundated with Fight the Fines cases. And I'm bringing you the story of Fraser McBurney. Fraser has been gathering and peacefully protesting for months now in Hamilton, Ontario. He identifies with the Hugs Over Mask groups and a freedom rally. Fraser is the allotted person to hand out coffee and refreshments to the individuals that gather at their rallies in front of the Hamilton City Hall on Saturday afternoons. So I caught up with Fraser in person to find out a little bit more about how his day unfolded when he was ticketed by police. Here is what Fraser had to say. Fraser McBurney is part of this crowd. Now, Fraser has come into the Rebel as a Fight the Fines case. Fraser was ticketed 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks
for,
on the 29th.
For a social failing to distance himself. So, Fraser, maybe you can just give us a brief overview of what happened to you 2 weeks ago.
Okay. Well, I set up a little coffee stand. I stand behind the stand, and I give the coffee and donuts and whatever to the people. And then I went down to the police. I said, "You want a coffee?" "Oh, no, we're okay." So just as I'm cleaning up and putting things away, I walk amongst the crowd, giving out the last of the cookies and things to the kids, very, very friendly. The cop walks up to me and says, "Can you come down? I want to talk to you." So I went down. I talked to the police, and he writes me a $750 ticket. And I said, "Okay, I'll see you in court," because I was ticked,
And the ticket, we can show an overlay of the ticket. We have it. You submitted a copy to us at Rebel News, but it was for failure to distance.
Yeah, failure to distance, which was ridiculous. And then I said to the cop, I said, "How do I serve a coffee? Do I put it in the thing and throw it at you from 6 feet away? This is ridiculous. So I have to hand it to you. It's just like in a restaurant. You got to hand somebody. You don't say, 'Hey, you over there,' and throw it away, But then he got, and then things went on. Then I went to the courthouse to hand in this here. I'll just show it to you. Oh, an intention to appear. The first woman was, let me say, unfriendly, and she refused to let me in to hand in my ticket information. I said, "Well, you please call somebody and they can come down and get it and hand it in." She called the security guards and they kicked me out of the courthouse. I was, again, ticked. The next day, I go back and there's a different woman there that I had met before. And she says, "Do you have a mask?" And I say, "No, but I have a perfect one that will protect you from COVID." I put a plastic bag over my head. She laughed and everybody laughed and let me in, and it was a very pleasant way. She acted like a proper lady, so I'll give her kudos.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Fraser McBurney. He's
Glad to meet you guys.
our Fight the Fines case from Hamilton, Ontario. So, of course, next I reached out to the lawyer in this particular case, David Amber. He will be representing Fraser in the court of law. David is a criminal lawyer, and he gave us a few thoughts and words on this particular matter. So have a listen. So, David, what was it about this case that made you want to take it?
Well, Tamara, this is just another situation where we have various levels of government basically tripping over themselves and trying to one-up each other with bad law. I mean, government is notoriously bad for making laws regulating behaviors that are generally pretty much being followed anyway. Social distancing is something that most people, pretty much all people, have used their good common sense for all types of illnesses, but particularly during COVID. And now we're dealing with a law that apparently restricts people from coming within a certain distance of each other. So the sheer lunacy of this law is really what attracted me to this case. Also, it engages some constitutional issues as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I understand that he was ticketed at a protest, a gathering to oppose the restrictions that he was subsequently ticketed for. So without giving away the game plan, how do we fight this? How do you go about fighting this fine?
Well, like I've said about the other cases I've been working with Rebel on, everything's on the table. The constitutionality of the law, the constitutionality of the enforcement of the law, and if the person's even factually innocent. I know in this particular case, Mr. McBurney was serving coffee to somebody, and it begs the question, what's he supposed to do? Is he supposed to toss the coffee from 6 feet away to the individual? We have coffee being served in dozens, if not hundreds, of places all across the province, probably thousands of places all across the province. And you don't have people there with a yardstick measuring that, because that would be insane. And we're now in a situation where this is a law that could be arbitrarily used, or used sort of at the whim of a police officer or by law enforcement officer to accomplish some of the political objectives, as we saw John Tory pretty much doing in Toronto, to accomplish the political objectives of some politicians who want to save face in light of COVID-19. And that's just not how the provincial offenses system is supposed to work.
There we have it. The wheels of justice, while they are slow turning, but it is questionable whether or not these fines will hold their weight in water. The constitutionality, the justification for such arbitrary impositions. I look forward to seeing just how this unfolds in front of a judge and in a court of law. For Rebel News, I'm Tamara Ugolini. If you're facing increased restrictions and a fine under the new COVID laws, head on over to fightthefines.com and submit your fine to us. Take a picture of the front and back, submit your story, let us know what you're up against, and we will help you fight your fine. That's fightthefines.com. And for all of you that are able to help us help others fight their fines, please head over to the same website and donate what you're able to today. Again, that is fightthefines.com.